Walk out to your driveway tonight and really look at your headlights. Not a glance, a real look. See that milky yellow film sitting over the lens like a cataract? That crusty haze that makes your once bright projectors look like 2 cups of weak tea bolted to the front of your car? You know exactly what that does the second the sun goes down. You pull onto a dark road, you flick your high beams, and you get nothing back. The light hits that oxidized layer and scatters into a useless fog instead of throwing down the road where you need it. You lean forward over the wheel, squinting, your night vision cut clean in half, hoping a deer or a kid on a bike isn't waiting just past where your weak yellow glow gives up. And the worst part is, you know it is fixable, because you have stood in that auto parts aisle and stared at the $35 restoration kit promising showroom clarity. But you also know what is inside that box: sandpaper, little discs of grit, and a tiny bottle of mystery oil, and the threat of blowing your entire Saturday morning hunched over your bumper, terrified that one wrong move scratches your expensive factory lens into garbage. So you put the box back, and the haze stays. For months. Here is what nobody selling you that box wants you to understand. The sanding is not the scam. Abrasion is real, abrasion is physics, and abrasion is the only thing on this planet that actually removes headlight oxidation. The scam is what they leave out of the box on purpose. Let me show you the 50-cent version of the truth, the one the big detailing brands have buried under glossy packaging and a price tag, the one that restores your lenses to genuine factory clarity and, more importantly, keeps them that way. It starts with a pantry trick for the easy part and a sheet of cheap sandpaper for the real part, and it ends with the single step those kits underdeliver on every single time. The first reveal is the simplest one, and it handles the light surface grime and the early haze before you ever touch anything aggressive: baking soda. A spoonful of plain baking soda worked into a thick paste with a little water, rubbed over a lens that has only just started to dull, lifts off the loose surface contamination and the first soft layer of chalky oxidation. And let me be honest with you, the way this channel always is, because half of you are going to film this and the comment section keeps me accountable. Baking soda is not melting anything. There is no magic chemical reaction dissolving your plastic. Baking soda is a soft, mild abrasive, a gentle grit suspended in paste, and it works for exactly the reason fine sandpaper works, just slower and milder. That is the whole secret. It is mechanical. Anyone who tells you a kitchen powder chemically devours UV-damaged polycarbonate is lying to your face, and you will know they are lying the moment you try it, and the deep yellow is still sitting there. Because here is the chemistry that actually matters, the part the industry depends on you not understanding. Your headlight lens is polycarbonate, a tough clear plastic, and from the factory it wears a thin protective clear coat designed to absorb ultraviolet light. Years of sun chew through that coating. Once the UV gets past it, the plastic itself begins to degrade at the surface. The polymer chains break down, and that broken down layer is the yellow crust you are looking at. It is not dirt. It is dead, sun-rotted plastic fused to the lens. You cannot rinse it, you cannot wipe it, and no, you cannot foam it off with a lemon. The only way that ruined layer comes off is to physically remove it, peeling away the damaged skin to expose the clear, healthy polycarbonate underneath. That is abrasion. That is sanding. And that is why the kit companies are not actually wrong to put sandpaper in the box. They are wrong about everything they leave out. So before I go further, hit subscribe right now and join the Restoration Rebellion, because what I am about to expose is exactly the kind of engineered dependency these corporate gatekeepers count on you never noticing. They are not hiding the method from you. They are hiding the finish from you, the one cheap step that turns a temporary cosmetic trick into a permanent repair, because a permanent repair is a customer they never see again. Subscribe so you stop being that returning customer. Now let me tear the $35 kit apart for what it really is. Open the box, and you get a few squares of sandpaper in 2 or 3 grits, a buffing pad, and a small bottle labeled as a sealant or a clarifying coat that is, in reality, a thin oil or a flash polish. Here is the con. You spend your morning sanding, you knock the dead yellow layer off, you wipe on that little bottle of oil, and the lens looks absolutely stunning, crystal clear. You are thrilled. You took a photo, and that clarity is real for about 3 weeks. Because the moment you sanded off the oxidation, you also sanded off whatever was left of the original factory UV coating, and that disposable bottle of shine they gave you offers almost no real ultraviolet protection. It wets the surface, fills the microtexture, makes it gleam for the photo, and then it washes away and bakes off in the sun. With no UV barrier left on raw, exposed polycarbonate, the sun goes straight back to work. Within a month or two, that fresh clear lens starts hazing again, then yellowing, and you are right back in the aisle reaching for another $35 box. That is not a product. That is a subscription you did not know you signed up for. They sold you the sanding, which works, and quietly withheld the sealing, which lasts. And the gap between those two things is their entire business model. So here is the honest version, the full protocol, and I am going to scope it honestly, because honest scoping is exactly why this channel gets trusted and the corporate brands do not. This works beautifully on surface oxidation and UV haze, the yellow chalky film on the outside of the lens. It will not fix moisture trapped inside a cracked housing, and it will not repair a lens that has gone brittle and crazed all the way through. Surface yellowing, which is what almost all of you have, comes back to clear. Start by taping off the painted body panels and trim all the way around each headlight with painter's tape. 2 layers. This protects your paint from the sandpaper, and it is non-negotiable. Wash the lens with soap and water and dry it. If the haze is light, start with the baking soda paste and a firm cloth in tight circles to knock down the loose surface layer and see how far it gets you. For anything past light haze, and that is most cases, you are going wet sanding, and the way you do it is the entire difference between a flawless lens and a ruined one. Buy a variety pack of wet-dry sandpaper. In bulk, it costs pennies a sheet, a fraction of what the kit charges for 3 little squares. You want a progression of grits, something like 600, then 1,000, then 1,500, then 2,000, finishing as high as 3,000 if you can get it. Here is the critical warning, and this is the real one, not a made-up scare. Keep the surface soaking wet the entire time and never skip a grit. Dunk the paper in a bucket of clean water with a single drop of dish soap. Keep the lens dripping wet, and sand in straight even passes with the lowest grit first. Dry sanding polycarbonate is how you carve permanent deep scratches into the lens that the finer grits can never erase, and jumping straight from a coarse grit to a fine one leaves gouges underneath that you will see glaring back at you the second the light hits them. The water floats the dead plastic away as a milky slurry and keeps the grit cutting evenly instead of digging. You will watch yellow milk run off the lens. That is the oxidation leaving. Wipe it, look at it, and the surface should be a uniform frosty haze with no yellow streaks and no glossy untouched spots. Only when it is perfectly even do you step up to the next grit, then the next, each finer pass erasing the scratches of the one before, the lens getting clearer and smoother with every level until that final ultra-fine grit brings it to a soft uniform polish. Rinse thoroughly, dry completely, and now comes the step the kit hopes you forget, the step that separates a real fix from a 3-week magic trick. You must seal that bare lens against UV. The raw polycarbonate you just exposed is healthy and clear, but it is naked, with no factory coating left, and if you stop here, the sun will start the whole cycle over within weeks, exactly like the kit intended. So, lay down a genuine UV protective coating. A proper automotive UV clear coat made for headlights is the gold standard, and it bonds a real barrier over the plastic. A high-quality paint sealant or a ceramic spray coating rated for UV works too, applied in thin, even layers and allowed to cure fully. This is the cheap step they refuse to put in the box because if your repair actually lasted a year or two, they would lose you as a repeat buyer. Seal it properly and you are not coming back to that aisle. That is the whole game. And let me be clear about what honesty buys you here, because this is the part the industry will never say out loud. Yes, removing oxidation is mechanical, and yes, if you skip the sealing, it will eventually come back, because that is simply how sun and plastic work. The brands hide that truth and sell you the return trip. We are telling you the truth and selling you nothing, because a verifiable, repeatable repair you can do in your driveway for the price of a sandpaper pack and a can of UV clear is worth more than any glossy box. So look at the comparison one more time. The $35 kit gives you real sanding, a bottle of disappearing shine, no lasting UV protection, and a guaranteed trip back to the store in 2 months, over and over, forever. The 50-cent path gives you a baking soda pre-scrub for the easy haze, a bulk pack of wet, dry paper that costs almost nothing per lens, a proper progressive wet sand that exposes clean, factory-grade clarity, and a real UV seal that makes it last. Same physics they use, honest finish they hide. If you have one friend out there leaning over their wheel every night, squinting through 2 yellow blobs, complaining their headlights are useless, share this video with them right now so they can do it correctly the first time and never get pulled back into that aisle again. Clear lenses, clear road, and one less customer for the gatekeeper.